I'm a fan of cult classics, man. I'm a fan of cinema in general. You know what I mean? But there's something about films that act as like this sociological, imaginative line of framework that seems to foreshadow the evolution of society. You know what I mean? Whether intentional or not. Oftentimes it's never intentional. This film, I feel like, was not intentional. Barbarella is something that's been floating around in my algorithm for so long. You know, of course, I've known about Barbarella for quite some time because you just can't deny that the influence has been everywhere. I mean, between Kylie Minogue, Madonna, Duran Duran, which you'll find that story to be pretty funny, to fashion designers who also inspired a lot of fetish gear, you know, around Barbarella's costume. Big names like Thierry Mugler, Jean-Paul Gaultier. And in spite of what some critics thought at the time, and how indifferent Jane Fonda had felt about the film as well, which is valid. Jane Fonda, who by the way is just so beautiful, gorgeous. Like it's impossible to keep your eyes off of her. Just no matter how confusing some parts of the film was, like, oh my god. But Fonda is amazing, nothing short of amazing in this film, nothing short of amazing in anything that she's done, if we're being quite honest. Clute being one of my favorite performances of her and of all time. And of course, everybody remembers her in Monsters in Law. That was like the baby boy of TBS and Comcast premium movies. If you're old enough to remember that type of thing, please don't guess my age. Anyway, she plays the US government space operative sent out into the abyss of the unknown to find a scientist who's created apparently a very dangerous weapon that poses as a threat to every planet known. Yeah, I think the underlying themes of feminism were there. I can definitely understand how debatable that is. The first guy she encounters wants to have sex in exchange for saving her life and, you know, giving her a lift somewhere. And she's like,
"What do you mean? You don't even know my psychocardiogram."
Eh?
And basically explains how impressionable conservatism has become on Earth, and that penetrative sex, like, I kid you not, is basically for poor people. Yeah, and it's so interesting because it feels so reflective of the religious psychosis society goes through in response to economic strife or just trauma in general. And you have your Christian extremists or all the other religious extremists that like to see the sexual act as sort of impure if it's not in a divine union or in a marriage. But she describes the way that they make love is through a pill and interlocking hands until they've quote unquote reached rapport. I'm gonna tell you right now, the guy's reaction, he's definitely like, fuck all that, I want some cheeks.
I don't care for that. This is what I mean. This, a bed.
That?
But anyway, they proceed to have penetrative sex and her sexual awakening begins, because right after she fucks a fallen angel. Yes, a literal angel, guys. She goes to, you know, fucking some pretty average guy, well, you know, handsome Hollywood guy, to then fucking some fallen angel who, you know, just looks ethereal as they come. You know what I mean? Who is, by the way, the second guy in her entire life that she has ever had penetrative sex with. Like, that's, I would dap her up. Like, I'd have to dap her up, because this is her second time, you know, around the block, and she's scoring, you know, cosmic biblical dick. Gold star. She gets the rite of passage to flex. They even go as far as portraying, like, if we're being quite honest, a relationship dynamic that every friends with benefits would probably want for sure. You know, very loyal, very caring, great aftercare. Because both guys were pretty reciprocal. You know, the angel basically put his life on the line for her. Comes back to save him. He then comes back to save her. You know what I mean? Like, it's no one in this film is a damsel in distress for too long. I'm telling you, like, that felt like the very positive aspect that just stood out. She casually has sex with another guy, but this time in the like economically affordable way. And oh my gosh, she gets captured and thrown into the machine of what they call endless pleasure and breaks it. And she's actually disappointed. Like, she was actually on the near brink of death, having multiple orgasms. Like, she was just, I mean, like, press crawl gone. But surprisingly, you know, to my dismay, there's a trope that seemingly touches on universal themes of forgiveness, and I feel like it was almost kind of a given the religious figurehead being, you know, the angel, whose name is Pygar, by the way. I'm so sorry. Apologies to Pygar. Because there's a scene where he's tortured by the queen, who, if we're being quite honest, there is nobody else in the film who makes it evident that they are horny besides her. Like, this woman is thirsty every step of the way. Like, you see it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it gets mad uncomfortable. And it's so funny because it's the whole film, like, centering around pleasure, and like the antagonist is not getting any like, that shit. To me, that shit was hilarious. And she specifically had her sights set on Pygar the angel, and he's just like, it's not happening, bro. Like, I'm sorry. She just could not live with the fact that he did not want to fuck her. Like, that. Like, this shit was crazy. Curved her like every chance, and for being quite honest, curved her with a line like this:
"You shall make love to me."
An angel does not make love. An angel is love.
Then you're a dead duck.
And just proceeds to ignore her entire existence.
What do you do?
And you?
I'm from the planet Earth.
So Pygar basically saves them. Barbarella's kind of puzzled because he also saves the queen. And she's just like, why would you, like, save her in spite of the pain and suffering she's caused you? To which he replies,
An angel has no memory.
which, being the spiritual advisor, like, occultist enthusiast I am, like, I found this film touching on themes of new age spirituality. That's pretty prevalent in our time right now, right? For one, giving a depiction of what the journey of the divine masculine and feminine counterparts consist of. Think about it. You know, there's the feminine who's not always, you know, identified as female. There's no gender construct when it comes to divine and masculine counterparts. The feminine is often the first counterpart to awaken to a higher truth, and through an unlikely, or what some would call fated, encounter with the divine masculine. I also can't help but think about the parable around him sensing her purity, you know, her genuineness. Like, even though he couldn't see, like, it was something that he could sense from her. He could feel that from her. Barbarella's innocence is so pure, in fact, that the moment her and the queen were about to get consumed by a cosmic force that just consumes everything, right? The entity deemed her too innocent and ended up sparing, you know, the both of their lives. Ended up sparing the queen, even though, like, you know, as freaked out as she was. was saved, being in the energetic spherical realm as this person of purity. And I feel like that scene, though small, was very impressionable, because we have a lot of, religious heretics, spiritualists even, that say a lot about the importance of preservation, that sex can, if not out of love, not out of divine union, could bring you impurities, negative attachments, demons, entities, etc. When there is literally sex workers of faith that integrate spiritual practices into their everyday life of existence and work. We can talk about the women who are in certain regions of Asia where tantric traditions, have historical roots, and see their work as intertwined with Shakti and other ancient practices. How energy and spiritual work through sex became exploited or outlawed is more of the appropriate word, I guess, was due to the British colonial rule. Not surprised. Deemed it as a moral, thus perpetuating the social stigma that still remains prevalent until this day, and creating an economic collapse for this particular community, because now we're actually talking about having to resort to sex work in order to survive. So this scene certainly recognizes that the act of sex doesn't make you impure or worthy of sanction. It's a beautiful form of intimacy that can be used to boost your ego, strengthen the bond between two individuals, honestly reach levels of higher consciousness where a spiritual experience that sort of transcends beyond, the physical. And if we're being quite honest, what also better way to help learn what stimulates yourself? All of these are forms of spiritual attunement and spiritual ascension. Yeah, Jane Fonda's character displayed nothing but genuineness, good morale. Didn't kill anybody. I don't count the... I don't even know what the fuck they are, to be quite honest. I think they were considered... Oh, I'm gonna butcher this. I guess like an empty shell made out of glass. I'm not like... I don't know. I'd have to look that up again. But another thing, the concept of Earth Angel as reincarnates dawned on me too. Pygar could be a representation of a fallen angel, as I aforementioned before, while Barbarella clearly, embodies the characteristics of what New Age spirituality would consider to be an Earth Angel, who are individuals believed to have a divine or higher purpose on Earth, embodying light, love, and healing energy. They often have a profound sense to help others and elevate collective consciousness. Wouldn't be surprised if these are the people who try and challenge the status quo the most. So many names for them too, like some people call them starseeds, indigo children, light workers. Christian mysticism, on the other hand, simply deems them as incarnated angels, souls who choose to be born into this earth in human form to simply guide and assist others. In some cultures, some are reincarnated and may not even remember their experience as an angel. Some are so full of empathy, so full of love, and so full of forgiveness that they forget, the majority of the experiences that they've had with pain, heartbreak. Because without so many words, they understand the pinnacle of the human experience and understand that these emotions are forever fleeting. And how you choose to feel is completely up to you. And that they can't help but to feel compelled to enjoy, the presence of the present, and doing that with such joy, with such wonder. My interpretation is subjective, of course, but media and conceptual films like this are why I am constantly just like reminded how fluid the ethos of synchronicities are, and why it makes the human experience so, just worth immersing yourself in completely. I ended up taking more than what I needed from this little quirky ass film. And it's safe to say, the remake could take a little bit from me. I don't know. It could take a little bit from my perspective, which hopefully they'll see the email in the description in my bio and they'll reach out. I don't know. Crossing my fingers. But please feel free to check out my article attached to this video essay or review. I don't know. And like, comment, subscribe. I'd appreciate it so much. Share your personal thoughts about this film or Jane Fonda, because we love Jane Fonda. I love Jane Fonda. I'm so serious. And I'll see you guys around.